Hey everyone!
So it is time for our monthly fandom buzz.
We're gonna be buzzing a little bit.
October. We also have a SipsBy unboxing, which will be happening first, and then we'll get to what this fandom buzz is all about later. Once again, it comes in this very compact, nice little box in the design there.
It's tea by the house.
Yes. Still has that card.
October teas.
Okay, I'm gonna hand Macky the box, and I will take the card.
Oh, and it also comes with like your little tea bags.
It's officially hot tea season.
It is. Ooh, this looks really great. Okay.
All right.
Let's start with some raspberry rose oolong tea.
Raspberry rose oolong tea by Tea Head. It's a medium caffeine, so it's raspberries and rose pairing together, and you can actually have it hot or cold.
Ah, this is great. This is perfect.
That sounds real good, actually.
All right, and then we have organic cream Earl Grey Moonlight.
I like that. Organic cream Earl Grey Moonlight by Tea Lyra. It's also medium caffeine, has a citrusy taste and a hint of French vanilla, and this blend is a rich and robust Earl Grey experience. I love that. I love Earl Grey tea.
Oh, this is great. Some winners. I think those are our winners already. All right, so we have some Super Mint.
Oh, I like that. Super Mint by Stash Tea. This is caffeine-free, unfortunately, for us both.
Not happening tonight.
It's grown in the Pacific Northwest, and it's a wild mint with high menthol content. So it's cooling and a delicious take on mint tea.
And now we have Supreme Matcha Green.
Supreme Matcha Green is medium caffeine, designed to cleanse, balance, and restore. It's 3 fairly traded whole leaf green teas blended together with matcha, and it helps you to feel replenished and revitalized. So all that info is on this little, very convenient piece of paper. It also includes a bunch of discount codes and the accounts for the different tea places that we got all that tea from. I'm gonna guess that you're probably gonna go for the raspberry rose oolong.
There's definitely no
we're gonna guess that I'm gonna go for the Earl Grey.
100%.
Alright, so we will be back after brewing some tea. If you're interested in trying out SipsBy for yourself, all that information will be down below, and you can also use our code to get some money off.
Discounts.
Alright, see you soon.
So
we're back with our tea.
I'm having the raspberry one. It's really nice with I always take my tea with like cream and sugar, or like coffee creamer.
I have mine plain. Sometimes I have it with sugar, but today I was just like, I want to taste it.
To kind of paraphrase Homer Simpson, kind of like floral.
Okay, so this month I randomly brought up the idea of talking about our topic with Macky because it just seems like the right season for it.
It is absolutely the right season for it.
What, with a certain event taking place like a few weeks ago now.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, and then another one coming soon. Today's Fandom Buzz is about cons, conventions, fan conventions of all shapes, sorts, and kinds. We're new to this. I want to say absolutely new. In fact, I think the first real con that I'd ever gone to was coming here to New York. I'd want to say. What was the first con you ever?
What was the first con?
Well, that's not true. You've actually been to a few cons prior to me. So what was the first convention?
Well, the first one I went to is one that a lot of book lovers will be familiar with, and I'm aware I'm very, very lucky to be able to attend it because I live so close and I don't have to spend as much money as some people might have to. So the first convention type thing I ever attended was Book Expo America, and at the time BookCon didn't exist, so it was just Book Expo America.
Wow, so you were actually kind of OG Book Expo, no BookCon yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it didn't exist yet.
Circa 2012.
2012.
Oh, that's insane.
I lived up in the Bronx at the time. That was my very first convention experience. I knew absolutely nothing about what to do at that convention. Thankfully, there were a lot of like helpful blog posts online about like what to do and what not to do.
Okay, I gotta hear this. What was your first book expo ever like?
It's very different from how it is now.
Was it also the Javits?
Yes, it was also at the Javits Center, but I feel like it wasn't as well attended as it happens to be right now. And the way things...
Oh, you mean the 20 bajillion people that attended?
I mean, like, it's great that there's a bigger audience. I mean, it was still crowded at times, but I never felt like it was too overwhelmingly crowded, and there was never really, like... But this is probably part and parcel because I, like, didn't know how to plan for what I wanted at Book Expo, and I didn't even know what to expect either, so I really went into it very, like... I'm just gonna show up because I love books and like I want to see my friends and stuff like that. So I walked away with a lot of books, I remember this, but at the time like it wasn't so hard to acquire them. Like it was very relaxed. It felt like the Javits was bigger than it like actually is, which was nice. It was a really good first experience. I met a lot of people I admired at the time who were blogging.
Was it decked out the way it is now? There's like rows and aisles
pretty much,
and like...
I don't think that's ever really changed for them. Like it's the same thing. There's booths, there's publishing
There's
areas,
arc
drops, signings. It's the same formula. Honestly, I don't think that's ever changed.
Do you remember how you felt?
I was just excited to be there, honestly, because this was like the first time I attended, and it was the first time I did something that so involved the online blogging community, and it was really exciting to me to get to meet friends who I had made online. Like, it wasn't really so much just the books that were the draw, it was really the friends, because I knew I was going to see a lot of them. So that part was really...
Oh, fun trivia.
Really fun for me.
Who from that first like year, maybe first 2 years, are you like still in touch with now? And
DJ.
Do I know them?
DJ!
Hello.
DJ I actually met at that first book expo that I went
way.
to. I met his mom. And it was great. And we're
Hello, DJ.
DJ and I are obviously still friends until today. And I'm still friendly with a lot of the other people I met as well, but DJ is definitely the one I'm still like actually close friends with, like we actually hang out.
Yeah,
so.
like, you know.
And this is before DJ lived in New York.
That was kind of cool. All right, that's fair. Because my first con was actually New York Comic Con. A friend of ours at the time was working at the Javits, and he was like, hey, you know, I've got an extra kind of badge for the last day. And I'm just like, sure, why not? And you come in, and it's just the most overwhelming. It's like, I guess it would be the exact opposite of your book expo first time, in where I was completely alone, because Ian was working.
Yeah.
And I was extremely overwhelmed by just the booths and the merch and the cosplays. Just everything was just nuts. And that was the first real convention. And little did we know, or I know at the time, that the Javits would be home for us every you know, like every year for like a few days in like the third quarter. Yeah, it was just so overwhelming. There was just so much in one go that I was just like, you know, there was like at the time there was like a life-size TARDIS, which I had photos in. I wore my Camp Jupiter shirt and some jeans, you know, just because at the time I was still sort of on my Heroes of Olympus high, and I thought I might as well be a Camp Jupiter camper, even if I was completely unkempt and shabby. So yeah, so there's that. There's the first encounters. But what I kind of want to almost chart was, I think at the time that I had gone to Comic-Con and then I had sort of taken you along with me, your anime like love was just starting to grow.
If we're talking about like specifics, yeah, the first time I went to New York Comic Con, I actually went mostly for the book stuff. Like there is a lot of book stuff that happens at New York Comic Con as well. Yeah. And so for me, I was just like, it was that and Doctor Who. Because at the time, that was like the thing that I was really into, because I had just discovered the Doctor Who fandom. And so I was super big into that at the time. During my first New York Comic Con, which like Macky says, is a very overwhelming thing because it's very different from Book Expo and BookCon. I was not super in otaku mode at the time over anime. Like we were watching Naruto. We had started Naruto. We had finished Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is not even an anime, it's just an animated series. And then we had started a couple of other, Sword Art Online.
That's true.
A couple of other series.
So
but
it was
not...
the otaku was sort of in progress.
Yes. But at the time, like, I was very big on Doctor Who. I really, like, that stuff and the superhero stuff was the stuff I really recognized when we were there. So that was the stuff I really latched onto while we were there. Because that was the stuff I was like, I'm really into that fandom. And I think that was the first time I experienced something where, like, Book Expo is great as a book lover because you are surrounded by your people. New York Comic Con is also great as a fandom person.
Yeah, it feels like the United Nations, you know, it's like...
by all these people who have all these fandoms, and whether or not you share their fandom, it's fine, because like everyone is just embracing their fandom love, and that's the most exciting and energizing part to me.
Yeah, books, movies, TV...
Anime, manga,
everything.
All of that stuff.
God, it's amazing.
It really is. It's overwhelming, and it can get stressful and tiring, but it's also like very fueling when it comes to, you know, your passion for your fandoms. Like it's so rejuvenating just to be surrounded by people who love their fandoms just as much as you do.
So for those of you who may be watching this and probably have never, you know, gone to a convention before, we certainly can't vouch for all the other conventions. We can't vouch for all of them, but for the ones that are set here in New York, which we have sort of been to infrequent, I mean, it's just, it feels like coming home to your, like, your home country or something like that, because it's just everybody in their fandoms. And I think that's the one thing that for me, I just look at all these people and I'm just like, there are people walking around flying their flag for whatever fandom that they have, and I think it's magnificent. And that's the one thing. Like it's almost kind of like a pilgrimage. I felt it's almost kind of like a personal, emotional like thing that you got to go to these cons, and that's what I felt during my first con. Which now leads us to, what are the cons that we've been to? Right? Okay. And it sort of charts our history and our fandom and how they grow and how it sort of goes expand. But let's do the book side first, right? Because you've managed to go to some really cool cons.
I have been to Book Expo and BookCon, so has Macky. And I have also been to a smaller con. Well, it started as a smaller con. It's pretty big now. It's called ApolyCon, and it happens down in the Maryland, Philadelphia, DC area. So I went in its inaugural year, which I think was 2015, and I've been going almost every year since. I think I missed like maybe one or two.
Hey, is that the one that you go like with DJ?
Yeah, we traveled down there. It's usually DJ and Rachel and I. They started doing panels, but what usually happens are signings, and there's like so many romance and sometimes YA authors who are at this con, and it's really great. Like a lot of them are local, but a lot of them also just fly in for this event, and that's really fun. I like it because it lets me meet like authors who normally wouldn't show up in New York. They show up for that con, so that's usually the reason why we end up down there. Also, it's just like a fun like weekend type trip for us to take when we're going, and we are also able to catch up with old friends who are attending this con as well. And so that's a really fun one. It's a smaller one, but it is definitely getting bigger and bigger every year, and I think that it's going to just continue to do so. And the last one that we need to mention is one that Macky actually attended with me, and I spoke on a panel on. It's BookNet Fest. Actually, there's two that we've been panelists on. So there is BookNet Fest, which happened in Florida. I think the inaugural year was 2017?
Thereabouts.
2018. That one is for all sorts of bookish creators, whether it's authors, publishers, bookstagrammers, booktubers, bloggers. There are different panels. I think now they've got a couple of booths and signings. They also
there's
do
some
prom
authors
now.
coming there too.
It's also a very small event right now, but I also foresee that one continuing to grow as the years come. They do their best to do panels that are interesting to both people who read as consumers and people who read and are online content creators. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really fun. The other one I think we forgot to mention, I think it's just because I lump it in with Book Expo and BookCon so much, it's Blogbound Con.
Blogbound, yeah.
Because we've both been on panels for Blogbound Con, which is really fun. I have done one for blogging. I've also done one for graphic novels. That's the one we did together. And I did one this year as well. They always host that one on the same week as Book Expo and BookCon, and it's because they want to do events where we can talk as content creators online. So that is mostly the goal of Blogbound Con for me, and they put people in touch with the publishing side and authors and other online content creators as well. And so that one's really fun because you get to learn from people who are in the industry or who are involved with it in some way. So that one's really cool too. That's a local New York one. So I did remember at the last minute one other thing that I have been to. It's ALA. I only have been to that one once, and I've only gone to the midwinter version of it.
Ooh,
so it is very similar to the Book Expo and BookCon setup, but this one is mostly geared towards librarians and educators. So it's a quieter event. It can still get pretty crowded, but at that event they have a lot more to offer, and they tend to be more generous with what they're giving out. It's easier for me to attend Book Expo just as someone who's local to New York, but that one can be fun, especially because they transfer cities pretty much every year. That one's pretty fun too if you get the chance to attend, although it's generally, like I said, more for librarians and educators.
Let's flip the switch a little bit. Let's talk about all of the comic cons that we sort of been to.
There are really only 3, right?
Well, that we've been to, I guess.
It's just New York Comic Con, Anime Con, and Fan Expo, which is the one in Boston.
It's really just been the 3
exactly.
cons that we've been to. And the lure, I think, for us to even go out of New York was like photo ops with like specific people.
Yeah, for FanX in particular, like that one's not local to us, and the only reason we traveled so far to Boston is because at the time, this was at the height of my Doctor Who obsession, and there were so many photo ops available over there that weren't happening in New York. So
we just
Karen Gillan, Jenna Coleman, John Barrowman, Catherine Tate. So we were just like, you know what, we're just gonna go up there. And it's funny because every time we went to those events, like sure it involved like the long commute and everything, but once we got on the floor, it was just as familiar to us as New York Comic Con is, because we kind of know how to navigate this. Like, and you see a lot of the people you might actually see at New York Comic Con, very similar merchandise and all of that. So like it felt also like coming home, but it was like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing. And it's a little bit smaller scale. And then on a bigger scale, it's New York Comic Con, which is local to us, and thank God the 7 train goes all the way to the Javits Center now for extra convenience.
That is true. It's really, really awesome that you don't have to switch or whatever and walk too far away.
And I mean, like Macky said, New York Comic Con is overwhelmingly large in its scope, and it covers TVs, movies, comics, video games, anime, books. Like there's a whole plethora of things.
Everything.
Pretty much anything you want. Almost in those sectors, you could probably find some of it there.
And speaking of what you want, let's segue to what are your favorite things at these cons? So just collectively, like what are your favorite things that are always at BookCon? What are your favorite things that are always at like these Comic Cons? Like what is it?
Honestly, just being with their friends. It's not even a thing that's at the con. It's just being with the people who come in from out of town to be there. Because most of my time these days when I go to BookCon, that's usually or Book Expo, that's usually what I'm doing, just hanging out with my friends. So that's what I'm gonna say for that answer.
I'm new. And I don't have that kind of friendship group that we have. I mean, you see people and you're friendly with people, and that's kind of cool. But for me, I just kind of love that it's you really don't know what you're gonna get. I don't plan anything, so
like
I'm just
the rest of us have spreadsheets.
It's like, what's gonna be here today? And then I wonder what's. And of course, Alexa and Kristen are kind of sort of slide the sheet to me, and I'm just like ah. And so for me, it feels like The Amazing Race when it comes to BookCon for me, and that's what I sort of totally love. It's just, what are you going to find? What are you going to get? Who's going to be around? What's in store? And you don't know. And,
That's fair.
And it's super cool.
The one thing you can always take away from Book Expo and BookCon, like anyone who attends is very, very lucky because we get access to all of these great books and great authors while you're there. Like, there's so many opportunities to see people and to get books signed or to get early copies of things, and it's really... like, it's really incredible that is given to us.
In which case, that is actually my most favorite thing about the con. Every so often you will connect with an author. Every so often there will be somebody that you just love their work so much, and they're like standing a meter away.
Oh, I love that.
And that never grows old. So what are the things that you like about like the comic cons? I suppose.
Easy. Artist Alley is always my favorite thing about Comic Con.
There you go. There's always Artist Alley.
That's like the number one thing I always have to do when I go to Comic Con. Because I'm like, I don't need to really go to the merch part of Comic Con because I'm like, I think I have enough merch. But I love fan art. Like, it's a thing for me. So I love trolling Artist Alley. That's the one thing. The second thing is cosplays, because I love seeing people in cosplays, and I'm always like, oh, this person is the best.
How Alexa has the capacity to like see the cosplays and
I'll be like,
alleys.
I'll be like,
and I'm just like, who did? And I'm just trying to register everything, right? I mean, maybe it doesn't help that my eyesight is terrible, but
meanwhile, I'm like, did you see that Raven costume?
And I'm just like, I was just busy looking at that other.
I was like, did you see the Coraline?
And I'm just like, I don't.
Oh, and crazy. I guess 3, we have to mention photo ops. We have been very lucky and have gotten a bazillion photo opportunities.
In fact, it's,
which is one of my all-time favorite memories. If we're ever going to go down that route,
and we're definitely going to go down that route because obviously we have Doctors 10, 11, and 12. We have River Song. We have Catherine Tate. We have Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
We have
John Barrowman, Karen Gillan, Mark Hamill,
Pearl Mackey, and even Elizabeth Henstridge. To have that sublime experience of having a chance to actually, like, for whatever amount, you know, kind of stand next to an actor whose work has touched your life immensely, and to thank them to their face for the work that they've done, and to see them so genuinely moved, because as an artist, you know, some of these folks, you know, they don't always get the thanks that they kind of want or need. I mean, sure, and there's more bad press online sometimes, and to see that look in their face where they're like genuinely touched that they, you know, somebody's thanking them, to me is one of the best things that I've ever done at any kind of con. And then of course there's like legends like Mark Hamill, who's just like, I know y'all love me and I love you too. That's pretty much that. In the last couple of years since I started going to BookCon, I was actually more interested in the books being thrown out at Comic-Con than the actual Comic-Con itself. Like the book aspect, which is so weird to me, because I started out on the Comic-Con side going, gee, I wonder what's happening at Book Expo. Maybe we can go next year. And then I literally have like posts on Facebook from like 2 years ago where I'm just like, maybe I should try like, you know, contributing to like the online thing. Cuts to now, and that's all that we ever do.
Talk about books,
right? And so to start out on the Comic-Con side and just being, you know, king of all merch and saying I know which stall sells what, and now still sort of do, and then to suddenly find myself more interested in what books are at Comic-Con, and then realize. Didn't we just do this like in June? But here we are. And so and then of course the photo ops. So those are the things that I always love. It's always the merch, it's always the photo ops, and oddly enough the books. Which I didn't get to do much this year because I'm just like, my TBR is gonna kill me. But that aside, we want to go on to the last piece. What are your favorite things that you've gotten at cons? Like,
I've gotten a lot of things at cons.
Right, and what sort of sticks out?
One of the best things that has ever happened to me at any Comic-Con I have ever attended is the time when we took a photo with Matt Smith, David Tennant,
and Alex
Kingston, because how do you even
What are the odds? What are the odds?
I don't even know what to say other than flashing that picture and being like, yep, this is it.
This is it.
I have peaked.
This is the crowning.
I got complimented on my outfit. I mean, I peaked.
And I'll have you know that Matt Smith, every time we've had a photo of this, all of 2 times, has been always the sweetest and kind enough to actually comment on, like, I think the first time it was your jacket, and the next time it was your dress.
It was my skirt. Oh, so good.
And he was like, very nice jacket. And then next time around, he was like, very nice dress. and I'm just there staring
And
at
I'm
this
just like
beautiful man,
freaking the hell out.
and I'm just like, wow. Thank you.
So yes, that is like one of my favorite things that has ever happened to us at any Comic-Con ever. Like honestly, I could just be like,
yeah, that's true. We have photos with just David as well,
which are also amazing.
And we had that signed. Oh,
Yeah.
here's what happened. So I'm a huge David Tennant and Catherine Tate fan. Like, I love their chemistry, both as the 10th Doctor and Donna. I love their friendship as human beings.
I love their friendship.
And just recently, and by recently I mean like the last 5 years, they did Much Ado About Nothing together as Benedict and I want to say what's her face, Beatrice, right? And that was the one time I really enjoyed Shakespeare. I am unfortunately not a huge Shakespeare fan. If that makes me less cultured than most people, you're probably right. And I won't even contest that. Like, no, it's like, sure, I can be uncultured, that's fine. But then I see how they bring these things to life. At, I want to say, Boston Comic Con, we went out to see Catherine, and there was like a little photo of her that you could sort of pick out and sign, because that's what you can do.
And of course
I picked the one from Much Ado About Nothing. Yes. Little did we realize that in that same year, I want to say in that same year, same year, David Tennant was coming. When we finally got to David to sign, we brought the photo that was signed by Catherine. So we have a signed photo of Catherine Tate and David Tennant.
So good.
And because
we're so blessed.
Because we're right proper fans.
We have had a lot of great acquisitions from New York Comic Con. Like, I'll link all of our hauls from the other years we've been to.
But everything sort of like pales in comparison
like,
to just what we talked about like
the
right
highlight
now.
of my life.
That is true though. Like, I can't think of anything else that is just as important. Before we show you like some of the highlights from like the 2 things that we got from Comic Con this year, 3 things we got from Comic Con. I do want to mention that one of my favorite things, like as a special mention that I got from this was in Boston as well. Oddly enough, the DC booth didn't have this here, but Boston actually had actual Wonder Woman cuffs. Or Wonder Girl, it doesn't matter. The point is they work and you can sort of put them on and it's just really, really great. I grew up on like the Wonder Woman Linda Carter kind of thing where she was sort of like, you know, deflecting bullets with the bracelets, and I'm just like, I would like to have a pair of these, please, thank you. Honorable mention, these cuffs are on my
highlights list.
On my highlights list. But what did we stumble upon this year that you supremely appreciate?
So, even before we got to Comic-Con, there was one particular destination outside of Artist Alley that I was like, if we don't go there, I will be so disappointed and so angry.
Especially because it's so timely and they're promoting it because the anime is out.
So the first season of the reboot of this particular story came out this year and just recently ended. Season 2 is in April 2020. We went by this booth. It's basically as if you are in one of the characters' houses having a meal with them, and it's the greatest thing ever. Obviously, I'm talking about Fruits Basket. Ta-da! This is the mini poster that they were giving out. But my favorite thing that they were giving out is actually a bunch of bookmarks. I wish they had them for all the Zodiac, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
7 out of 13. Not bad. Well, 14, right?
And they basically just have, you know, year of whichever Chinese Zodiac animal it is, a little bit of the characteristics, and the character that they match on the show. It's so good. I love Fruits Basket so much. Everybody knows that at this point, so I was very, very... To say I was excited about that is kind of an understatement, because, like, I lost my mind just a little. At first you were like, oh, there's really nothing we want to acquire. Walks by a booth, and then I do a double take because I see something at that booth, which we'll get to in a second.
When we got to that said booth, there was a lot of flipping the pages of the...
Yeah, because what they generally do at cons is they will have artwork put up, you know, for display, but they also have books you can flip through to see their other work.
Yeah, other prints that you want to buy.
And obviously I lost my goddamn mind just a little bit when I saw this for multiple reasons. But
since I have no attention to detail, I saw this thing. I'm like,
see, it actually looks like you can't see
It's just Sakura, and it's just the you know...
Cherry blossoms,
and it's Kerberos right there, and it's cool.
And then you zoom in.
But then you zoom in, and
who is there? Baby Sharon. Out there
at the end of the frigging like lane, and I'm just like, all right, we're getting it.
However,
what brought us to that booth, however, was this
and the highlight of this year's Comic-Con for me, even more than Fruits Basket, and that's
interestingly enough,
is this incredible print. I was just like, we can't leave without it. We just can't. Like, there's no way. It's this print of the Elric brothers from Full Metal Alchemist, and they're in a library. Look at the detail.
Although it does look leisurely though. Like, it doesn't look too stressed. I know.
They're reading in in a library.
So take favorite anime characters, put in element that person
And that's
finds herself most attuned to. So there is an absolute need.
If I had an office, I would totally have put this up already, but we don't have an office, so not happening yet.
That is true. That is true. I will sort of want to end this with, do you have any nostalgia for the cons that you have? For example, I, on my bedside, have all of my lanyards and all of my badges from every single Comic-Con hanging. And every single book expo, you've got little badges, you've got little pins, and you have little, oh, this is my first book expo. I've got stuff from Anime Con, that kind of deal. So this is my way of keeping nostalgia.
I badges too as well, but mine are not quite as accessible. And I also am the one who keeps all our art prints. I like the photo ops because they're the ones that I keep most visible, so I know that they're there. But actually, instead of ending with nostalgia, I wanted to say we should end with what con experiences do you still want to have in the future?
That's a great way to end.
I think I would like to try San Diego Comic Con at least once, but I actually more than that would like to go to D23.
D23,
because I think that would be so much fun. As we both love Disney so much, and I think it would be so entertaining just to go to a con that's all about that.
I have a theory that D23 is going to feel like Disneyland. It's like if Disneyland was, if Disney World was turned into a con, that would be D23.
One future aspiration I also have, and this is particular to New York Comic Con, I really want to cosplay. And I really want it to be a group cosplay, like a legit cosplay. This is not like
we sort of have plans already, like, and we have plans every year and they always fail.
So
but right now, a friend of ours wants to be like Nightwing. He's got a bunch of friends who want to play the rest of the Titans. I thought I would love to be Red Hood and Alexa would love to be like Batgirl. So we'll see how that goes. Because I kind of already have the jacket. I just need a helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would be so much fun to cosplay. Honestly, I think it would be so cool.
When you cosplay, every train coming from the Javits Center, that last stop, 34th Street, is filled with characters. It feels like it feels like a surreal kind of like
it's so cool
environment where you get into a train car and there's the Joker sitting next to Arya Stark, sitting next to like the Elric brothers, sitting next to
or someone from Dragon Ball Z.
Somebody from Dragon Ball Z. It's just crazy, and that entire train car is filled with that. On the Comic-Con days, at every train stop, there are like 4 or 5 people in costume, and you're like, we know where you're going.
It's so great.
And it's super cool. I totally chickened out because on the way home from work, I think like a couple of weeks ago for Comic-Con, I saw there was this girl who was totally dressed as Arya, and she was sitting next to the Night King, and she was really, really good dressed in really, really good cosplay. I chickened out, but I wanted to come up to her and go, Valar Morghulis.
Those are like the 2 things I would like to do that I haven't gotten the chance to do yet.
Interestingly enough, I don't have any further con aspirations in terms of like something new. But what I do want to do is I want to experience what it's like to have a VIP pass to
that would be fun
Book
too.
Expo. Because they sell those. Live on cup noodles for like 3 weeks leading it. So I have enough money for it. But I don't know. But it's just I just wanted to see if like is there really an upper tier experience to this thing, or do you get a separate line or like a lounge or something. But outside of that, it's just I just want to keep going. I just want to make sure that we're there every year.
We're very lucky to continue to be able to do that for the foreseeable future.
Right, and we live in New York, so like, and living in New York is insane. So at the very least, get that experience.
So that's our con talk.
That's right. So good talk. Thoughts? You guys have been to cons. What's it like? Do you want to
go to a con?
Is it like that at all of the cons that we haven't gone to as well?
Yeah, there's so many.
I almost feel like it's the mothership. You know what I mean? It's like, or it's like a federation like outpost where it's the same thing wherever you go. And
well, tell us what your con experiences are, or if you would ever like to go to con and which one would it be. If you do go to cons, if you like to cosplay, I would love to know what you've cosplayed as. I always find that fascinating.
Yeah, totally.
So I definitely love to hear that. Again, if you want to try out SipsBy for yourself and get that selection of tea, all of that info is going to be in the description box below. And we will see you with another Fandom Buzz soon. Bye!
Bye.